Let's see. Is- Mr. Hankins, Dr. Garrison? Good evening. It is 6:42. I am calling to order the regular board meeting of Tuesday, August 19th. Mrs. Schopp, may we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Amy Levy? Here. Tom Hankins?
Here.
Brian Nichols?
Here.
Megan Miller?
Present?
Joanne Rue? Juan Romero?
Here.
Tia Johnson?
Here.
All members are present except Joanne Rue.
Thank you, Mrs. Schopp. Can I get an approval of the agenda requesting removal of item 6D as in dog and 9C as in cat?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Megan Miller. Any discussion? Mrs. Levy?
Yes. Actually, I have a question and I think an amendment because I need to remove one more item. At the August 5th meeting, the board approved a motion to reconsider bringing back Fresh Start in-house no later than August 19th. So I'm just wondering if there's a reason why that doesn't appear on this evening's agenda.
I think it went, which committee, Dr. Garrison, do you remember? It went to the Business Operation Finance Committee where it did not pass to come to the full board.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification. It was my understanding that it was going to come back to the full board. The motion didn't include sending it back to that committee. And my other question, you said you wanted to remove 9C. I also had that. But 6, let me just double check. I don't want to give you the wrong information. 6C, Rule 181, that item was approved with a final reading at the August 5th meeting. So I'm not sure why that's appearing on the agenda this evening.
We'll address that later we'll address that later in the agenda.
The reason why the motion that was the policy that was just approved on August 5th is back before us?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't wait to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There is any other discussion? Oh, Ms. Miller.
Thanks. Yeah, I apologize because I was absent at that last August meeting and that didn't come to my attention, but I'm just wondering could we get some clarification on what that motion was to bring Fresh Start back and like whether or not that's something that requires us to take, I mean, we obviously can't talk about it tonight because it wasn't publicly noticed, but is that something that we could visit? Because I just want to
Certainly.
make sure we're complying. Okay, thank you so
Certainly.
much.
If you don't mind, I
Mrs.
had,
Schopp, would you make note of that gets on another agenda that gets followed up with? Thank you.
Board President Johnson, would it be helpful if I read the motion language? I have it in front of me.
Actually, we'll take care of it next time because it is not on the agenda, and we do have a very packed meeting tonight, and we're already 45 minutes overdue.
Perfect. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Tonight's President's Report. Over the past 2 weeks, the district has been busy in preparation for the 25-26 school year. We are delighted to welcome and meet our new staff members and all of our returning staff members. As we continue to work within budgetary constraints, there will be changes as we strive to ensure coverage of services and provide the best teaching, learning environment for students and staff. In this effort, recently, the elementary assistant principal positions were converted to dean positions so that each elementary building would have a dedicated staff member to address student behavior. Please accept my sincere apology for the confusion of this transition and the implementation process of the dean positions. It is our duty to be aware of the district's spending as given in Board Policy 150, Board Powers and Duties, item number 6, by performing the custodial functions of watching the public purse, maintaining the physical and virtual properties, and keeping an eye on the stability of the school system. We will continue to reflect on processes and all we can do to make improvements in our district. We always welcome feedback. I am not proud of the messiness of some of these situations, but please do understand we are asking all to do more with less. With streamlining positions to meet the district's staffing needs, difficult decisions have to be made. I urge everyone to pause before they hit the post buttons on social media. Pause to think if they have the correct information and to ask themselves if they have done their fact-checking. Incomplete and/or incorrect information may have negative effects on the morale of staff members and the work environment for our district. I believe we can all agree that a better school district of Beloit will benefit the entire community. We respect our staff members, their dedication, their expertise, their contributions in making Beloit a better place for all through an improved education. Please accept my sincere apology for not having a smoother process in this matter. Due to budgetary constraints, all committee meetings may not be recorded. This is not a requirement by state statute or of board policy. Running the equipment to record and post video needs a technician. Continuing our efforts to provide the best instruction and educational experience for our students, this money is better spent to meet the needs of classrooms. If each chairperson wishes and knows how, or if Ms. Shope wishes to help them record the meetings from Google Meets, they are encouraged to do so, because we do want to keep the public as informed as possible. Our meetings, as always, are open to the public. People are welcome to join us. We encourage people to join us. We love having people here in person, and you can bring your own recording equipment as long as it does not impede the progression of our meetings. This concludes the President's report. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you. Next up, we have upcoming events and announcements. Board Clerk Romero.
Good evening. These are the announcements for Tuesday, August 19th. As summer begins to draw to a close and the school draws near, please join us for the last few family summer engagement events. Thursday, August 21st, join Gaston for popsicles on the playground at 11 a.m. Saturday, August 23rd, beginning at 10 a.m., join Robinson and Todd at the Beloit Health Fair located at the high school field house. They are still looking for volunteers. Volunteers, feel free to contact Andrew Gallner at AGALAUN, as in Nancy, ER, @gmail.com. Sunday, August 24th at 3:30, come to Merrill's for pastries, principal, and fun. Monday, August 25th, come to Fruzen at noon for game day. Thursday, August 28th at BLA is an open house beginning at 4 p.m. And Friday, August 29th at Beloit Memorial is a tailgate party at 4 p.m. Please visit our district website at beloitschools.net for your child or children's open house week on the week of August 25th. School begins on September 2nd for our 4K and 5K students as well as our 6th and 9th grade students. All students report on September 3rd. School supply lists are available on the district website, COLAC, and your student school. Our future board meeting dates include tomorrow, Wednesday, August 20th, a special board meeting at 6 p.m. regarding the preliminary budget at the COLAC Education Center. Tuesday, September 2nd, Business Ops and Finance Committees at 5 p.m., followed by the regular board meeting at 6 p.m. Watch board docs in the district website calendar for a special policy and human resources meeting on Thursday, August 28th. This time is yet still to be determined. This concludes the announcements for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Next up, we have recognitions. Tonight, we have recognition of summer school partnerships. We are recognizing the achievements of the Grady Garden at Converse and the Wealthy Environment Center. Dr. Garrison?
Yes, so every summer we have opportunities to work with a lot of different community partners, and we did reach out to Grady's Garden and Mr. Chad Miller just to say thank you for all the work that he helped us with over the summer. He wasn't able to be with us tonight, but we still wanted to give that recognition space. So let's give a round of applause for Grady's Garden at Converse. Yeah. Another one of our partners that we've worked very closely with, and you've probably heard their names before, which is the Welty Environmental Center. They have done such a wonderful job with the School District of Beloit over the many years, and I think since I've been here, we probably recognized them maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, and I just want to make sure that people understand that our partnerships are consistent, and they have been a consistent partner with us, and I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Brenda, the executive director over there at Welty, and she has always been a partner of the School District of Beloit. And so let's give the Welty Environmental Center a round of applause for that. Those are our 2 recognitions that we wanted to make sure we put into the space tonight. And so again, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison, and thank you, Mrs. Plankins at the Welty Environmental Center. You know that's a personal favorite of mine.
I'm so sorry. Did you want to come to the mic and say anything? You could do that if you like. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. Brenda. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison. Next up is public comment. Mrs. Shope, do we have public comment tonight?
We do. I have several in the room, and I have a few online.
Okay, wonderful. Members of the public are welcome to attend all open meetings of the Board of Education. Individuals attending board meetings are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner that models appropriate behavior for our students. Individuals wishing to comment are expected to comply with the norms found on the back of your comments cards and in the Board Policy 187, Public Participation at Board Meetings. We ask that each of you contribute to maintaining a respectful and orderly meeting and prevent discussing confidential matters in a public forum by following these norms for public comments during board meetings. Thank you for your participation and courtesy. Mrs. Shope?
The first person I have is Mary Ellen, and she has Emily yielding 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Mary Ellen Fuentes, and I live here in Beloit, and I am the biliteracy coach at Todd Elementary School. Dear Beloit School Board members, during the 2015-2016 school year, members of the Todd Elementary Building Leadership Team, along with teams from 7 other district schools, attended 5 days of training facilitated by Andriel Davis and Cal Mohair from the Wisconsin RTI Center. The focus of this training was building culturally responsive systems. Throughout this training, we built awareness of our own identity development, our school identity, and how that identity affects others. We examined our history, our present, and our future. We knew that we would come away with both technical change, changes that you see, and adaptive change, changes that you feel. We worked with the Wisconsin RTI Center that school year through numerous modalities to broaden our awareness. We used experiences with articles, book studies, guest speakers, coaching, modeling, conferences, and workshops to build our knowledge and to facilitate our plans. Andriel and Cow suggested that our staff would benefit from visiting some schools that had worked tirelessly to build their culturally responsive systems. Our principal received permission from COLAC for our entire staff to use a professional development day to go on 2 site visits. So on April 8th, 2016, we boarded a bus and went to visit Sandburg Elementary School and Hawthorne Elementary School in Madison, Wisconsin. We were able to visit with staff and students at both schools. We asked questions and were given very candid feedback. We observed classes and interactions that we knew we could build on for our own students. The single most important takeaway from that day for our staff wasn't an idea that was going to cost money. It wasn't an idea that would require wholesale change. It was brilliant in its simplicity. The biggest takeaway for our staff that day was observing and learning about the value of having lunch in the classroom together as a class. We were able to implement this new idea throughout our entire building in just 2 weeks. Todd was the first school in Beloit to pilot lunch in the classroom in May of 2016, and we found immediate success. Students ate more food during lunchtime, and behavior concerns decreased dramatically. Classrooms built routines together to keep their rooms clean, which helped custodial staff keep rooms cleaner. Eating in the classroom provided the opportunity for building relationships within the classroom, both between the students and between the teacher and students. Students, teachers, and paras were able to hold quiet, meaningful conversations in a smaller, calmer setting. The following years, other elementary schools in Beloit followed suit and moved to lunch in their classrooms. Since beginning this practice over 9 years ago, we continued to see benefits for both our students and staff. Lunch in the classroom helps build a stronger classroom community. Our students converse and build strong relationships with each other and their teachers and staff. Lunch in the classroom creates a calmer setting. Our students are less likely to be triggered by the noise and distractions. Lunch in the classroom is a more inclusive setting for our students. Lunch in the classroom creates a more familial meal concept, shared conversations, shared manners, and a collective meal cleanup. Lunch in the classroom has allowed our students who bring lunch from home to share their culture and customs through the food that they bring. Concerns from recess can be resolved during lunch in the classroom so that when lunch is over, there is a seamless transition back to academic subjects. This protects academic time. We have many of our students with IEPs that document specific disabilities or difficulties, with sensory input, transitions, and/or communication. Lunch in the classroom minimizes this sensory overload. Throughout lunch in the classroom, teachers and staff are able to spend time with our students, getting to know them in a non-academic setting. Our students share collective responsibility while cleaning up their area after lunch in the classroom. And I'm going to yield to Mrs. Rohrbeck, since I'm almost out of time, to finish.
Thank you, Mrs. Fuentes. Mrs.
Next,
Schultz?
I have Melissa.
Good evening, Melissa Rohrbeck, first grade teacher at Todd Elementary. To continue the comments about lunch in the classroom, moving lunch into the gym will have a significant impact on our physical education classes. They will have half of the gym space to conduct their classes. Movement during PE class will be severely limited due to lack of space. With classes of up to 27 students, safety will be a concern in the half-size space. The use of music during PE class is hugely important, but will be difficult to use while lunch is taking place on the other side of the curtain. The PE class structure and curriculum will need to be significantly altered to accommodate this lack of space. The lunch tables will need to be stored against the walls, which will also impact PE class safety. There were 10 tables delivered to Todd Elementary over the summer. Each of these tables holds 12 students. There is only enough room in one half of the Todd gym for 10 tables. Based on our schedule, there will be up to 140 students scheduled in the gym for lunch at the same time. This is not enough seating for our students. We are hoping that the decision to move lunch into the gym will be reconsidered as it pertains to this coming school year. We know it is in our students' best interest, for all of these reasons we have stated, to continue lunch in the classroom. We appreciate your time and consideration. Signed from 36 Todd staff members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rohrbach, and the other 35 staff members. Mrs. Schultz?
Next, I have, I believe it's Markey?
Hi, my name is Markai Thompson. I was class president with Beloit Fresh Start, and I just wanted to speak on what Fresh Start did for me and what it does for a lot of kids in Beloit and what it can do to change kids' trajectory of their life and future. First off, I just want to start at junior year in high school. I had 12 credits. I skipped probably almost every day of high school. I didn't go. I didn't try to go. I didn't want to go. I didn't like school. I don't like reading. I don't really like none of that type stuff. And I really didn't like the setting of the classrooms at Beloit Memorial High School, and the feeling, the environment, everything about it really kind of threw me off. So I got an opportunity to go to Beloit Fresh Start. And before that, I had just lost my aunt. She had got murdered, and I had went on a high-speed chase. I got put on probation, and then I lost my grandpa in the month before I went to Fresh Start. So I was really going through a hard time, and in my eyes, I was like, I got to try to graduate. I got to try to do something. I got to try to change my life. I got to try to do something, or I'm going to end up dead or in jail, and that's not what I wanted, and that's not what I let happen. So soon came August, and that was mental toughness for Fresh Start. That really gave us time to see what we were getting ourselves into and what the program was all about. And in that time, I grew very fond of the program. I really liked what it was about and how it was more hands-on, and you still get the whole learning experience, but you get to get out the classroom and do things for your community, and that was a big part. Like, now I'm 2 years out of Fresh Start, and I still get an empty feeling like, dang, I could be doing more. There's people out here that need help that don't get it every day, and there's stuff that goes on in Beloit that shouldn't. And really, I just wanted to say that Fresh Start has really changed my life and really has changed the trajectory. Like I said, 2 years later, I got my own house now. I'm 19 years old. I got my own house, working on getting a new car right now, selling my old car, working at the same job for 6 months. Like, I'm actually doing good things with my life instead of what I was living in the past. I was living that life since I was like 14 and a half. Like, it's crazy because I lived that life all the way up till then. I went to Fresh Start and it just gave me a change of mind. It changed the trajectory of my life, really, because I wouldn't be up here today speaking if it didn't. And the thing is, I spoke a lot at Fresh Start. I've spoken in courtrooms. I went to Washington, D.C. and spoke. I was the class president, so I did a lot of talking, and I haven't done this in so long, and it's such a surreal feeling, like I'm back at school, like I'm back, you know, doing what I'm doing, and that's really what I miss. It's really not only a program for kids that aren't doing so good in school, but kids who just need a little push. It gives the kids a little push that they need. It teaches kids more than just sitting in a classroom for 8 to 10 hours all day doing work, doing all that. It teaches kids more than that, and it has also teach me about character, trust, worthiness, everything in my life. And I just want to say that Fresh Start has really been a life changer, and if you guys want to think about doing anything, I would say keep Fresh Start.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mrs. Schultz?
Next, I have Christian Dalton.
Good evening. Thank you, school board, for taking this opportunity to allow us to speak. I'm here on the, I told myself I wasn't going to get choked up. I'm Captain Christian Dalton. This program is near and dear to my heart. This program has allowed the police department to get in front of many at-risk youth over the past 3 years. We built a program to build Don't look at me. Love you guys. We built a program to build lifelong bonds with these young people and spend time with them, learning about their trials and tribulations, which are much, I never grew up with that. Our officers, most of them didn't either. This has changed their perspective about our officers. It's taught our officers to look at the root cause of issues before simply arresting them. This makes the youth and the officers much safer on the streets. Lastly, these youth talk to other youth in the program and out of the program, and these youth that are already involved in sometimes criminal behavior are listening to them, and they're like, man, I'm just trying to get into Fresh Start. I'm just trying to get into Fresh Start. And now these kids don't have anywhere to go after this. Like, they're just going to be on the streets, and then we're going to be dealing with them and arresting them, and it doesn't need to be that way. We've seen the youth crime decrease. We've seen officers begin to actually understand what procedural justice is, and it's because of these guys. It just makes us all better. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Dalton. Captain Dalton, my apologies. Mrs. Schultz?
Yadira.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yadira Ibanez. I'm a former student at Fresh Start. I just graduated in June. I'm just here to talk about what Fresh Start did for me and how it changed, I guess you could say, my life. I don't know how to say it. Like, in high school, I was a shy person. I was not outgoing at all. I was really quiet, but I was one of those type of students where, like, I wouldn't like school. I didn't like showing up. So by junior year, I only had like 8 credits, I would say. And then I had found out about Fresh Start, and I had joined it. And at first I was like, yeah, this is not for me. But then in September, when I had officially got accepted into Fresh Start and made it into like through mental toughness, I don't know, it was like something really different, but the teachers just like, well, the staff members there just made me feel some type of way that I've never felt like ever at Beloit Memorial High School. I've gotten like so much support from Fresh Start than all my years combined at Beloit Memorial. I felt like I had so much support. I felt like I could really do anything. They would motivate me to do a lot of things that I didn't think I could have ever done. Going into Fresh Start, I didn't have any plans. All I wanted was just to graduate, and that's it. I think like 2 months in, I was like, oh, well, I was kind of interested in going to a college, but in my mind, I was like, oh, well, I think I'm too dumb for a college. I don't think I would ever be accepted in a college or a big university. I just thought I wasn't good enough for one. But the Fresh Start staff motivated me and pushed me to apply for some, and I applied to 4, got accepted to all 4, am now going to college for nursing. And honestly, one thing Fresh Start has taught me, well, it has taught me many things, but one thing that it has taught me that doesn't matter like your past or what you went through, what you did, but it's what you're gonna do like in the future. They are really good with not judging. They have never ever judged me. Everywhere I would go, every school I would go, I would feel judged, but going into Fresh Start, I have not once ever felt judged, like ever. I always felt so, I don't know, I just felt like I was on top of the world, like I could really be like anything. And so yeah, and also like we wouldn't just stay still in a classroom for more than 8 hours. We were hands-on, we were helping with the community, and that was one of my favorite things because it really taught me and really opened my eyes to many things, especially what's going on in the community. There's a lot of things that maybe we don't see or maybe we don't realize, but in this program they teach you that we have to watch out for one another, that we have to take care of one another, that we have to care for our community. It could be the smallest thing and it would mean like the biggest thing to someone. And they have taught me that, and I just love that we were always doing something with the community, whether it was with elderly people, whether it was with younger kids, whether it was with dogs, cats, animals. We were always just doing something with the community, and that was one of my favorite things. And I love how they always taught us, well, the police officers always taught us how to defend ourselves. That's something that you don't get taught in high school, like at a regular high school. You get taught many things here. We even took cooking classes. That was one of my favorite things too. But they teach you a lot of things that I feel like a lot of kids, I don't know, like they kind of need. And I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, they get into some trouble and people look at them in a certain way, but they feel like they won't ever get anywhere because they're getting judged everywhere they go. And here at Fresh Start, they don't do that. They motivate you to keep going. They don't care about your past. They don't care about what you did. They just care about you moving on and moving forward and doing better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cañas. Mrs. Schultz?
The last one in the room I have is Cortez McAllister.
Good afternoon. My name is Cortez McAllister. I'm a former Fresh Start student. Tonight I just basically came to touch on further what my fellow Fresh Start alumni were speaking about, really how important Fresh Start is to the community and to students out in Beloit. One thing Fresh Start really did for me was pretty much gave me a beacon of hope. Like I wasn't doing as bad as other students were who had went to Fresh Start. You know, I had my dad had pushed me a lot and whatnot, but My junior year, he had passed away due to esophageal cancer. And I just felt like I ain't really had no motivation, no push to keep on going and doing what he had me doing. So I went ahead and Markai, he had a close friend of mine, he had told me he was going ahead signing up for the little Fresh Start stuff and whatnot. And so I went ahead and just applied for it too, give it a shot, see what the difference was, see if it was gonna make a difference at all. And when I got there, it definitely showed. It definitely did make a great difference. Fresh Start has an abundance of opportunities, like they were speaking on. We helped the community out a lot, whether it was going to the animal shelters and going helping out the animals, building a house for low-income families, just doing all types of different work out in the communities just to make sure that our community is together and there's better things getting pushed out than the negative stuff getting pushed out. And we had a lot of community partners, such as the police, the Beloit Police Department. One thing they've done for me, I happened to get myself in a little bit of trouble, and they went ahead and had members from the police department, members from Fresh Start, go ahead and speak out for me on my behalf, on my character and how I am as a person and whatnot, and that helped me out a lot in my case, and a lot of other things that Fresh Start has done is it changes your mindset. You, like with me before, I had a lot of doubts, like just thinking about how I was gonna progress in life, how I was gonna turn out, if I was gonna be able to go out and get a job and be successful and do things on the right track, because there's a lot of stuff in our environment that can bring you down, that will bring you down if you let it. But Fresh Start showed me that I don't have to follow in the footsteps of certain people around me. I can change myself. I don't have to let the environment make me. I'm my own person. So Fresh Start went ahead and pushed me forward to bring that person out of me. I went ahead and I joined the Youth Apprentice Council for Fresh Start, and that was something I didn't see myself doing. I stuck that out the whole year. I started taking a leadership position, such as Makai did. He spoke out a lot. As he spoke out a lot, it kind of made me comfortable to go ahead and speak, kind of like I'm doing now. It's not something I would usually step up and do, but with Fresh Start struggling right now and with how much they helped me, this least I can do is speak out and try to get some form of help. Some form of just trying to get that program to stay here, That's the main thing, that if you guys, like Markai said here, if you guys do take anything into consideration, it would be to keep that program alive. It's because it's doing a lot of things for a lot of young people. And I would hope that you guys do take that in consideration and do your best to try to keep that alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAllister. And Mrs. Shope, Board Member Miller yielded time to Mr. McAllister because he was over the 3 minutes. So if you would just
Okay.
want to make note of that
Sure.
in the minutes, I appreciate that.
I will do that. And I didn't realize what 3 people had put their cards in the box out there, and they
Okay.
just came and told me, so I had them get their cards quick, so
Okay.
I do have a few more.
Okay, wonderful. And just for everybody's awareness, there is a 3-minute limit unless you have somebody yielding an extra 3 minutes to you. So a total of 6 if there's someone to yield. Thank you. Mrs. Shope?
Okay, I have Malia.
This one? Okay. Good evening. My name is Malia Miller. That's Alicia. That's Jayla. And that's Kamani. I'm a current Nightingale and former Miss Beloit's teen. I am going on my fourth season of cheer. Today, I'd like to address the reason I'm here, because I am an athlete, and what I do should not be discriminated against or discredited as a club or activity. My sport takes stamina, strength, and discipline. Being a cheerleader means being lifted and thrown to possibly 15 plus feet in the air, and as the one being lifted, it takes a lot of courage to do that, but I know it takes a lot more strength for the ones doing the lifting and throwing. Now, lots of people get what we do confused as one thing. That's not the case. We are a cheer, dance, and step team. Cheer requires us to encourage crowds to be hype and entertained. Not only that, but it's sharp movements and loud and projected voices. Cheer is also tumbling, jumps, and stunts. Dance, on the other hand, is finding the rhythm and feeling the movement. Dance is facials, fun, and energetic. Dance is storytelling. Without a theme or feeling, the crowd has nothing to grasp to. Step, a form of dance, began in Africa to celebrate and show culture. Stepping is making music with our bodies and stomping and clapping our hands to do so. The step team practices for about 20 plus hours a week, and I'm not joking. Okay, So we're preparing for shows and performances during this time. So I hope you guys would come attend that as well. And blood, sweat, and tears go into what we do. We spend most of our time in the cheer room perfecting our craft, skills, and making sure that we're keeping things traditional but also adding our own flair. Though we do not bench 250, tackle, or shoot free throws, does not mean that we are not athletes. Come to a cheer practice and practice with us for a week, and you will soon see what we do, and you will appreciate what we do. First home game next Friday. Hope to see you there watching us do the sport we so dearly love. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Next. Okay.
My name is Kamani Ford, and I am the school board representative and class president of my senior class. I'm first going to talk about how cheer, dance, and steps shouldn't be considered as an activity. As a current member of the Nightingales cheer, dance, and step team that's been on the team for 4 years, I'm here to tell you that we practice as much as all of the other teams do, maybe even more. We have to try out to be on the teams when other sports just let anyone make the teams with no exceptions. Sorry. We have had many Nightingales in the past getting sports scholarships for dance. So if we're not a sport, how would those girls go to college off sports scholarships for dance? Another thing I want to talk about is how cheer is split into 2 different seasons. They are split up into fall and winter cheer, so the talk of combining the pay for both seasons shouldn't be a topic of conversation. I also want to speak on how the district is trying to cut Coach Regina and Michelle's pay. How are they the only ones in the district, in the athletic department, that's getting their pay cuts? They've poured so much into the school district, and it just goes so unrecognized. They've been coaching for over 15 years, and throughout this time, the district has been picking with them. These are great women that are willing to do anything to help kids, whether it's taking students on HBCU trips, getting students extra help in school, or even just being there as a leader and guiding students on the right paths for success. They want to see us thrive and succeed, and it shows with everything they do. Now, since the talk about step and cheer being the same thing is always coming up, we are going to show you what the Nightingale Step Team is about and what we do.
Together we are strong.
Thank you, Ms. Ford, and thank you, Carol Fox, for yielding time to that group. Mrs. Shope?
I'm guessing that Jayla, were you going to speak, or was your time? Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Just emails now.
Go ahead, please.
So the first email I have is from Melinda. To the members of the Board of Education and our community, across the country, states are taking action to protect student learning by removing cell phones from classrooms during the school day. They have recognized what we see daily. Phones in class are a barrier to education, not a benefit. Yes, we understand that cell phones are part of students' lives. We understand that they help parents feel connected and provide a sense of security. But let's be honest, they are not needed during instructional time. In fact, they are doing real harm, disrupting focus and making it harder for students to stay engaged in lessons, fueling bullying and social pressures that spill over into school hours, raising stress and anxiety as students feel compelled to constantly check notifications, reducing academic achievement as divided attention weakens retention and understanding. Other states have said enough, and it's time we do the same. This is not about controlling students. It's about giving them the freedom to learn without constant distraction. It's about putting their education, mental health, and future first. We can join the growing numbers of districts and states taking a strong, clear stand, no cell phones during instructional time, period. We can create a policy that keeps phones off and put away during learning hours, allows parents to communicate with students through the office in true emergencies, protects both teachers and students from the daily battles over device use. Our children are our future. Let's do the right thing and give them the focused learning environment they deserve. Let's follow the lead of other states, stand together as a district and a community, and make this change now. Ban phones during school hours. Invest in learning. Invest in our kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Shope.
The next one I have is from Jessica, as well as several other Hackett teachers. We are writing to express our concerns regarding the School District of Beloit's recent decision to have elementary students in the buildings eating lunch in the gymnasium rather than in their classrooms. While we feel this decision was made based on practicality, it has created several challenges that affect both our students and staff at Hackett. Impact on physical education. The gymnasium is a critical learning space at Hackett, not just for physical activity, but also for fostering teamwork and healthy routines. With lunches now taking place in this space, physical education classes are forced to adjust in ways that disrupt years of established lesson plans, classroom management strategies, and student engagement. The limited space combined with the noise and cafeteria setup reduces the quality of instruction and restricts opportunities for students to benefit from a full PE experience. The lunch tables would be stored in the gym off to the side. Some of the tables are old and do not lock. This creates a definite safety concern for our students when participating in PE classes. In addition, at Hackett, the playground is very small. There is always a PE class occurring during students' lunch and recess times. This will result in students having PE class in half the gym every day all year long. The other solution is for them to go outside and share a space with students at recess, which adds even more chaos and noise and results in an even larger safety concern. Students' well-being and responsive classroom practices. At Hackett, we've worked hard to implement the responsive classroom philosophy, which prioritizes building strong relationships with students and creating safe, supportive learning communities. A number of years ago, we made a purposeful switch to classroom-based lunches to proactively create a more positive lunchtime experience. This change significantly reduced office referrals, stress, and negative behaviors while providing students with a calming period to regroup and interact on a more purposeful level with their peers and teachers. Benefits of classroom lunches. Time in the classroom at lunch allows teachers to reinforce responsive classroom practices while also giving students opportunities to practice oral language skills, build social emotional competencies, and engage in meaningful conversations. This family-like setting encourages healthy eating habits, provides a calmer environment, and strengthens teacher-student relationships. Additionally, classroom lunch fosters responsibility as students and staff share cleanup tasks, lightening custodial and cafeteria workloads while reinforcing respect for the school community. Inclusive decision-making. Decisions that directly affect Hackett's students and staff should involve input from those who live with the consequences every day. Teachers, staff, and families should value it. Teachers, staff, and families have valuable perspectives rooted in their daily experiences with our students. A collaborative process ensures that decisions align with Hackett's educational philosophy and truly serve the best interests of children. Request for reconsideration. For these reasons, we respectfully urge the board to reconsider the current lunch arrangements at Hackett Elementary and to engage the school community in developing a more student-centered and equitable plan. Thank you for the commitment to our children's well-being and for supporting the strong educational practices at Hackett that have worked so hard to build. Sincerely, school teachers and staff. There's a whole list of them.
Thank you, Mrs. Schopp.
The next one is from Catherine. Dear school board members, please reconsider how the clubs are chosen at the elementary school level. Art Club at my school, Gaston, is a popular and well-attended club. In 2024, I had 94 kids participate in Art Club, ranging from first grade through fifth grade. At Gaston, we have also had Fine Arts Club, which included music and movement along with arts activities. Fine Arts Club was not given as a club choice last year, and the kids missed it. Please do not label the clubs that we are able to keep. Let the principals choose which clubs do well at their buildings, and then each building can offer what is best for their elementary school. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mrs. Schopp.
You're welcome. The last one is from Nora, as well as staff from Robinson. Dear school board members, I'm writing to express my concern and frustrations regarding the recent decision to have students eat lunch in the gymnasium instead of their classrooms. While I understand that this decision may have been made with the best intentions, I believe that it has led to several challenges that need to be addressed, including how it affects both our students and staff members. First of all, it greatly affects physical education class. The gymnasium is a vital space for physical activity, and even with creative scheduling, both the noise and lack of space disrupts regular routines that physical education class has put in place for years. Lesson plans, routines, classroom management strategies, and even equipment that is handed out has to be rethought in order to accommodate for the lack of space, with only having half the gym for several class periods. Additionally, the noise, lights, and even smells from the cafeteria greatly overstimulates both physical education class as well as staff and students in the lunchroom portion of the gym. Many feel overstimulated from the amount of students altogether in the lunchroom, with an estimated 140 students eating in half of the gym at one time, causing many students to eat less due to being so stressed in this environment. The amount of negative behaviors seen from both the lunchroom and physical education class is unthinkable in this environment. With this proposed setup, it is inequitable for all students to receive the same amount of time to eat. Students wait for many minutes for their food, but are still given the same amount of time to consume their food. Lunches held in classrooms offer several benefits. They provide a quiet, family-like atmosphere for students to eat lunch at their own pace and allow classroom teachers to supervise and engage with students. When students finish eating early, classroom teachers can provide quiet activities, fostering a more productive and enjoyable lunchtime experience. Teachers and students can hold meaningful conversations in a quiet and stress-free environment. Furthermore, having lunches in classrooms allows both teachers and students to take responsibility for cleanup, thereby assisting custodians and cafeteria staff with their workload. This sense of shared responsibility promotes community and respect for our school environment. Finally, I believe that decisions affecting the entire school community, such as where students eat lunch, should be made collaboratively. It is crucial that input from teachers, staff, and students is considered, ensuring that the decision reflects the best interests of everyone involved, rather than being solely an administrative decision from an outside perspective that is not directly dealing with the decisions made. I kindly urge you to reconsider the current lunch arrangements and to involve the school community in finding a more suitable solution. Thank you for your attention to this matter and for continued dedication to our students' well-being. Sincerely, teachers and staff of Robinson Elementary School. And there are several listed.
Thank you, Mrs. Schopp. And thank you, everyone, for your public comments. Next up, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Garrison?
So just as I mentioned in our last meeting, we are counting up to the days that we are returning back to school. So students, y'all have 13 days before we come back to school. So I would like to say start getting your sleep patterns together. If you haven't started doing that, that means get in bed around 8 o'clock. As a start to seeing how it feels naturally. So again, we are welcoming our students back in about 13 days. That also includes the weekends. So you can start practicing how you get your sleep pattern on the weekends as well. And again, I'm lightly saying that because I know that we all have had a wonderful summer, and as we gear up to come back to school, naturally there's some opportunities that comes with. And so let's welcome back, let's get ourselves prepared to come on back to school. And I'm asking all the parents as well to help us with that conversation with our kids. Those first few weeks of school is kind of hard. It's kind of waking up. They're kind of getting used back to the schedule. And so as we start having those conversations about coming back to school, parents, please just remind our students that we can't wait to see them back here and on September the 2nd. Which brings me to on September 2nd, we have like a soft start for our 4K 4K kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th grade opportunities. And so those students will come back on September the 2nd, with all students returning back on September the 3rd. Okay, so all students come back on September the 3rd. Our third annual health fair is Saturday, August the 23rd. And yes, due to our efforts over the past 2 years, the city actually has given us a proclamation for this work, which I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting that. But the city has given us a proclamation, and I'm not going to read all the whereases, but it is definitely a proclamation that they've given us for that work that we've done over the past 2 years, and having in this case, an all-community health fair, which does a lot for not just our students, but any students that live in the community. I'd like to thank all of the volunteers that have helped to get us to this point. Naturally, to Mrs. Papke, Mrs. Ursula Ethlers, Ms. Babilius, a lot of the staff who have helped get this health fair in place. I would like to say thank you for that. And so to all the volunteers, again, thank you for the work that we're going to be doing leading up to this Saturday. That's a huge undertaking. Last year we had over 800 plus students and families that came out to participate in our health fair. And so naturally it is definitely greatly appreciated to those who have helped in that space over the many years. I also see a previous member of our school district, Mrs. Hendricks Norris, who also helped in that space over in the past with our health fair. So thank you for that as well. With that being said, we have had a lot of donations in that space as well. Costco has donated a lot of book bags. We had a Cram the Bus opportunity where a lot of the school supplies that we'll be giving out to the families during this health fair have been just come from generous donations from our community. And so again, it is greatly appreciated to all of the people who have helped put our health fair together. Look forward to seeing everybody this Saturday. School transportation families, please note that we have sent out some information as pertains to transportation. And so if your child is receiving transportation, you should be receiving information about that in your mailbox. It should be in your mailbox this week. If you have not received any information, feel free to reach out to the school district and/or Durham Bus Services to get any information that you may be missing. We also would like to welcome back all of our new teachers, as Mrs. Johnson mentioned in her board president's report. We did have our new teachers come back to the schools this week, and so thank you to the administrative staff who have been helping make this week for our new teachers worthwhile. And I also like to give a shout out to the summer school graduation team. Shout outs to Curtis Cobb, Milana Goodman, and Olivia Sandoval for their graduation over the summer. We did have some summer school graduates, and I just want to say congratulations to those students, and of course to Mrs. Christy Champion for her work as leading in the summer school principalship in that space. And so that concludes my superintendent's report and my general announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison. I don't know if the young Miss Ford necessarily agrees with your assessment of sleep. Next up is the Governance Committee report. The Governance Committee met on Monday, August 11th. With Dr. Garrison and cabinet members, we discussed direction, format, and proposals for the 25-26 district goals. Each executive director provided suggestions for their department goals. The proposed district goals are attached on tonight's agenda for you to review. These will come forward to the full board for discussion, revisions, and action within the next few weeks. Dr. Earhart presented a survey tool we can use to provide feedback for our meetings. Mrs. Shope also created an electronic version of this pulse check for us to fill out at the end of meetings, and we will be moving in that direction of having those attached so that we can just take a quick minute before we adjourn to fill those out. The desired effect is to provide more focus on preparedness and efficiency for our meetings. Our next scheduled governance meeting is January 27th, 2026. However, we may need to hold some special meetings to work with our referendum marketing and communications agency, the Hadley Group. This concludes the governance committee report. Thank you. Next, we have Teaching, Learning, Equity, and Pupil Services. Vice Chair Romero, are you giving a report tonight, or are you waiting for Chair Rue's return? Thank you.
Yes. The TLE and Pupil Services Committee, we discussed the little bit more learning about the DLI program going on. We expect to have something hopefully before or by December going through. Talked about some good things with policy 345 regarding the weighted grade system. Really good idea for the district. We also went over some materials, some pilot materials for the health and human growth development lessons. Talked about contracted services approvals and a great CTE grant that we received. I'm looking forward to see that robotic arm sometime. And preliminary report from the Ad Hoc Student Success Support Committee. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of that committee. Feel free to tap into the recordings and hear everything that's going on. Very positive stuff going on. That concludes the report from the TLE committee.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. Next, we have the Business Operations and Finance Committee. Chairperson Hankins.
Thank you, Board President. Yes, we did meet. We had a nice, fruitful discussion. A lot of it was based around the budget, which we'll be meeting with the full board on Wednesday. We dissected, Fresh Start a little bit. Dr. Garrison, we talked with Ms. Stenroos. A lot of that is going to get pushed forward or backwards, then forward again for reconsideration. A lot of nice conversation about the whole program, and I think it was just determined that we need some more input before we move forward from that. And that is my committee report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. And next is the legislative update. The legislative liaison, Board Member Hankins, do you have a report for us tonight?
Unfortunately, I don't. I'm starting to get used to this cadence of all these responsibilities, but I do not have one. My wingman, Megan Miller, we've both been kind of AOL for a while, but we'll come back. I will come back with her help on the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. No problem. We are happy to have you both back. That's how we prefer it. That brings us to board action discussion items. First up, we have an update from the Hadley Public Relations Group. Tonight we have Shauna with us.
Hello, everyone. There we go. First, I just want to say it was a joy to hear from the students. That's something I don't get to hear personally very often. So that was a really joy. And what I loved is seeing the pride on all your faces. I watched you all just glowing, and really that's what it's about. So thank you for that treat. And just the community partnership too with the police department. Like, I can just see the pride all around, and I loved that. So as Ms. Johnson said, I'm Shauna Thayer. I'm with the Hadley Group. Thank you for having me tonight. Just giving a brief update on where we're at. There's a couple slides in your board packet as well of where we're at in our communication strategy process. So Our first phase in August and September is really about listening and using the listening to inform referendum planning process in these really important upcoming months. The last 2 weeks, our team has gotten the opportunity to meet with 5 board members for some one-on-one listening. Thank you again so much for taking the time to share. If you haven't had a chance to share your perspective with us, please reach out. We would love the opportunity. Truly, it was an honor to speak with each and every one of you and hear your perspectives. We're committed to making sure that what we hear in these listening phases informs next steps. That's really part of this foundation that you're going to see us laying as the process moves forward. It's important to acknowledge that the board listening is a piece of our listening. So we are also currently have rolled out a staff survey. So they have through the end of the month. That's something we worked with district administration on. And also looking to roll out a community-wide survey, which is what I'm here to talk about tonight. So together, these 3 areas in the next 30 to 60 days will kind of help shape the outreach and messages moving forward. So what are we going to do with this feedback once we gather it? Then we're going to identify consistent themes among these groups, possibly some unheard audiences, and again, tie those into our messages moving forward. So speaking of listening and applying those listenings, we heard from you, we heard from the cabinet. That's kind of where we're at in this listening so far. And one of the messages that stood out to us was that the community didn't feel heard prior to referendum decisions being made before the package was really rolled out. We really see that the timeline that we have here as an opportunity this time. And so we're coming here tonight with a proposed solution. So as we move forward, this is a really critical opportunity for the board to really take ownership of this community listening survey is our recommendation. This listening effort would launch with the beginning of the school year, run through September, the end of the month, and really, ideally, this would be board-led, which would kind of say to the community that this elected governance in the district is actively listening and making decisions based on community feedback. So that's what we really want to see in this early stage. The Hadley Group would work with you all on the logistics, the execution, but really having your buy-in and being a group of leaders who listen to the community is really important in this early stage. So our question tonight really is the board on board with kind of committing to taking this task on and leading this initiative.
Are there any board members with questions or comments? Mrs. Miller? Ms. Miller?
Oh, no, it's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I really enjoyed the conversation that you facilitated. It was outstanding, and anybody who hasn't had the opportunity yet, please do so. I'll just speak for myself. I think that's a phenomenal idea. I love the responsiveness. It's something that I am more than happy and willing to do. And I also think it presents a unique opportunity for us as a board to present with unity. And I really thank you for the observation just about, just now tonight, we had this unifying moment where we all got to admire our students.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people's attention is really focused on division or contention, because it's apparently we're super exciting people. But I think it's more important to kind of inspire that trust and investment from the community for us to be unified. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us to come together, present as a unit, and really, I think we're all pretty much on the same page about things that need to happen.
Yeah.
So I think this is just absolutely stellar idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. No, it was my joy. I could listen all day, honestly. So if you haven't had the chance, please call us, set that up, because really there is so much that unites the city of Beloit. It's incredible to see, and it was a joy to hear. And we look forward to hearing from the staff. We haven't gotten any of that data in yet. And then obviously the community-wide survey will even strengthen that. So for sure. Any other questions?
Mrs. Levy?
Thank you. Just really briefly, I am completely on board with what it sounds like is the board kind of leading these listening sessions and being really engaged. What do you see as a time commitment for that? And is there a structured plan, once a month, couple times a month, we're going to rotate? Are you that far yet?
Great questions. So yes and no, but great questions. So really, we would like this wrapped up by the end of September is what we're hoping. Lindsay and I have already started working on some questions based on feedback we've heard from the board, from the cabinet, kind of shaping those conversations, and then of course best practices that we need to gather from the community. But really what we're looking to do is position the board as a leader in the listening. So it's kind of got your stamp of approval. We will propose questions for you all, whether that's a committee or however you guys review and approve those. And then for you guys to really help us identify, we have some ideas of where these need to go, but where else they need to go. Who is underrepresented in this community that we're not hearing from? So we do see a digital option and then in-person option as well. So we don't have that number yet, but really I think with the board commitment, there is a fair number of you. So I definitely think it's something that can be executed in the timeline that we're suggesting. Because again, we're taking care of the logistics. We're just having you guys be the face of, we want to hear from you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other board questions or comments? Dr. Garrison, did you want to say anything?
I did. So first of all, thank you so much to the Hadley Communications Group. They have worked very closely with, of course, me and my administrative team. And, it's always good to have a partner because, again, like I shared last year, they bring insight to what I necessarily don't see. And it's good to see how it all comes together, right? And we haven't had this space before where we can kind of just, I hate to say, like, roll it out properly, one could argue. It gives us the opportunity just to say, okay, here's how we could really gather the information that we are looking for, put together another platform in which we can go after. Naturally, there's some things that we have to still yet to answer in that space, but I think with the board's support, we can definitely have a real strong opportunity leading into the next referendum season. And so, again, thank you for your partnership, and we look forward to more communications.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we are at this time of year where the WASB resolutions are due September 15th. So the purpose of this agenda is to remind board members about the submission deadline for any WASB resolutions for the January convention. Resolutions must be board approved and submitted by September 15th. Therefore, any resolutions should be written and prepared for presentation at the next regular board meeting on Tuesday, September 2nd, to allow time for approval and electronic processing to the WASB. Are there any suggestions or comments regarding what board members would like to see proposed in a resolution? Mrs. Levy?
I don't have a suggestion, but my comment is I would encourage anyone who is thinking about proposing a resolution to review the 2025 WASB resolutions booklet. I'm not sure if everyone has had an opportunity to do that. I'm more than happy to send this link to Ms. Shope if you want to send that out to everyone. But I think that's a really great place to start. You can either propose a new resolution or you can propose an edit to an existing resolution. But just one point of clarification as someone who has served on the statewide policy and res committee, once we submit the resolution, it is really no longer ours. It goes to the Policy and Resolution Committee, and they will decide, one, whether or not to pass that on to the full delegation, and if it goes to the full delegation, any edits or modifications is really at the discretion of that body. So just wanted everyone to have a clear understanding of what submitting a resolution might look like.
Thank you. Are there any other board member questions or comments regarding the WSB resolutions or, thank you, Mr. Hankins?
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Mrs. Levy said. So this resolution is inherent to Beloit School District, and it just stays as our resolution submitted to them.
Is it
Go
okay
ahead.
if I,
Go
Board
ahead,
President
somebody.
Johnson? Oh, is it okay if I? Okay. So great question. So the WASB resolution booklet is the guide for our legislative liaisons to advocate on behalf of all school boards across the state of Wisconsin. So the school district of Beloit or any district can submit a resolution, but then it goes to the Policy and Resolution Committee, and if it clears the committee, then it ends up at the State Education Convention in January, and the delegation votes on whether or not a resolution moves forward. If a resolution is amended, it moves forward in a slightly different form. And then that becomes, for lack of a better term, the playbook for our WASB lobbyist to lobby on the behalf of all school districts across the state.
Mr. Hankins?
Yeah, so it's our voice commingled with everybody else's, and then they'll be approved on as a statewide voice?
Yes, so we would be the initiating body. It may go through exactly as we had submitted it, but I just don't want anyone to be caught off guard if you get to the delegation in January and they're like, the resolution submitted by the school district of Beloit, and you're like, that's not exactly what we submitted. Now, as a delegate, you can always go on the floor and provide clarification and say this was our intention, et cetera. And then there is robust discussion before there is a voting process to approve resolutions.
So taking that next step, in the, what you just said, at the end of the day, it's a state resolution to the lawmakers that our voice is heard in there, maybe or maybe not.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other thoughts or suggestions? Well, hearing none, then I'm going to weigh in. So I came up with some ideas over the past year, hearing about the DPI report card and the groans at the last January convention about how it's made it very difficult for school districts to compare year to year how we've been doing. So perhaps the DPI, we could have a resolution suggesting that the DPI, every year they change their report card scoring method where year-to-year comparison is not valid. The DPI will provide 2 report cards for every district, one to be used to make a true comparison with the previous years and one to be used for the baseline for future years. Another consideration I thought about was that Wisconsin needs to develop a better public school funding system. Another one, to allow districts to be able to retain students who fail to demonstrate meeting minimum academic progress without penalty to the district. Another, also without penalty, allow districts to be able to retain students for lack of meeting a minimum attendance requirement. Another one, change the licensing requirements for DLI professional educators to what the previous requirements were. And lastly, to allocate more of the state's surplus to cover training and education for teaching students who teach in high-poverty schools for X number of years. Those are my thoughts and suggestions that I hope the board might want to consider. If there are no other, Ms. Miller?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I have a few questions about how exactly they would come up with 2 report cards, because it just depends on what changes from year to year. But yeah, no, I really appreciate, I think, pretty like-minded with where you're at. We have in the past submitted a couple of resolutions that have touched on many of the things that you touched on, but then there's some really good new ideas in there too. So I was just curious what your thoughts were. I mean, are you planning on writing drafts for all of those, or did you want our feedback on, like, did you want us to prioritize them, or do you want help writing those? Like, what do you see the process going forward as
If
being?
board member, well, there wasn't, I didn't hear anybody else saying they
No,
had
that's
any resolution
great.
ideas. But if any of these resonate with any board members and they want to work on writing them. I don't know if Mrs. Shope has any time to help, or perhaps the board consultant can give us a hand as well in terms of writing draft resolutions. But if board members would love to weigh in, and this is our opportunity to tell the state what we want to see.
No, absolutely. And can I make a suggestion? Like maybe could you send your list to Ms. Shope? And since, we don't want to all be emailing each other back and forth, could maybe like each of us respond maybe individually to Ms. Shope and say like, hey, I'd love to work on blah, 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 whatever. And then she could get that to you and we can just kind of coordinate from there. Because I just want to be careful, like if people want to work together, if they're, we just got to consider quorums and things like that. So I figure if you want to just have eyes on that first and then like we can go from there. I
Sure
would
thing.
love to help write some of those. So
Yeah,
thank you.
no, I think that's wonderful. Mrs. Shope, I don't want to over-commit you, but would that be doable? Thank you. Thank you. Any other board members or comments? Okay. Oh, Mr. Hankins?
It's just an overall 1,000 feet up. What is WASB's relationship with DPI?
Sure, they actually work. They do work hand in hand, and a lot of times people don't think they do, but they actually do. The school boards and DPI, naturally, school boards, DPI, and the teachers union, we have a lot of collaboration around some of the things that we want to see at the state level, and so yes, they do work together, and there is some collaboration there.
So they do listen to WASB, in your mind? I mean,
Yeah, it's a collaborative approach.
Correct.
Yeah, yes.
so I mean, going through this exercise and WASB submits it,
We can submit anything. Again, I think.
I
yeah.
understand. That's
I
what I'm
think when it
saying.
comes back to how the state wants to act on it at the legislative level.
right.
Yeah, so that's where.
WASB is credible in DPI's mind.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Ms.
Thank you so much. And if I may clarify, Mr. Hankins, like the resolutions, so those resolutions don't necessarily just go to DPEI, like it's to our elected representatives. So what would have to happen then is, like, for example, President Johnson's suggestion about the report card, even though that would be implemented by DPI, the state legislatively would have to direct DPI to do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really good point that you made about like the collaboration and lobbying and, to some degree shared vision, but ultimately it's the state that has to move on it legislatively. No, thank you.
Seeing no other comments on the WASB resolutions, our next agenda item is, I'm sorry, Mr. Romero?
I wanted to put in there to, because our funding is a problem. And I wanted to put in there something to make it stable and predictable so districts don't have to keep going back to taxpayers to keep the lights on, so to speak. So I'd like to propose that.
Thank you. Ms. Miller?
I'm sorry, I promise I'm going to stop talking after this topic. So we actually, that just reminded me, Mr. Romero, so thank you so much. We actually did come up last year. We did a legislative presentation to people who were willing to show up, which was Mark Spreitzer and Clint Anderson. And we actually did go through an exercise and come up with like a board legislative agenda. Would it be okay, Ms. Johnson, for me to send that like maybe just to you or maybe, I don't know, Ms. Shope, so that way people can get it? And, that way, we can have common language and certainly add or change, but just want people to see that, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, thank you.
Sure thing. Our next item is the Policy 181 Rules of Order. Policy Committee Chair Brian Nichols.
Thank you, Board President Johnson. So the reason this is coming back is the Policy Committee approved a policy on July the 18th. And somewhere in the time between July the 18th and July 31st, that was changed, and it was not caught by either me or the committee, and was passed on 2 weeks ago. So This policy is coming back, and I move approval of waiving policy 151 and approval of the revisions of policy 181 rules of order for final reading to the full Board of Education for approval.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Brian Nichols, second by Juan Romero. Any discussion? Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. Just for clarification, as I'm looking at policy 181, it seems like the only change is, and correct me if I'm wrong, the removal of a registered parliamentarian. So as it is proposed to read, the board president may at their discretion enlist the assistance of a person who is not a member of the board to serve as parliamentarian for any meeting where such services may improve order and board efficiency. So is there something that I'm missing, or is the only proposed change that we not have a registered parliamentarian or someone who is trained in parliamentary procedure, and it can just be any person? Did I miss something?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you so much. That's definitely not something I could support.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, there's a motion to move approval of waiving policy 151 and approval of the revisions of policy 181, rules of order for final reading to the full Board of Education. All in favor?
No, I'm so sorry. Could we get a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Mrs. Schultz?
Juan Romero,
Aye.
Megan Miller,
Nay?
Brian Nichols,
Aye.
Tom Hankins,
Aye.
Amy Levy,
Nay.
and Tia Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried 4-2.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is policy 453.4, administering medication to students. Mr. Nichols. Administering medication to students. Oh, no, that one was removed. Yeah. Yep, so.
Okay, so I move approval of policy 453.1, administering medication to students for final reading. The amended policy is attached, and the policy committee spent a great deal of time with Mrs. Babilius and Mrs. Beavers last night during the rainstorm to do the second reading. So here it is.
There is a motion to approve the revisions of policy 453.1, administering medications to students for final reading by Brian Nichols. Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
I'm
second
sorry.
by Tom Hankins. Go ahead, Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. Just for clarification, we're looking at E, correct? 'Cause I think you said 453.1. Are we 453.4?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, thank you.
My apologies. Yes, it is 453.4. There's a motion by Brian Nichols, a second by Tom Hankins. Any discussion? Ms. Miller?
I think I did something. Sorry. Thank you. No, so thank you so much, Mr. Nichols, for filling us in. I just to clarify, the administration supportive of the changes, because I just want to make sure I know that stuff's okay, like lots of standards and regulations. Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you for your work on that.
They were all there.
Any other questions or comments? Mr.
Yes.
Hankins?
We asked a couple questions at the committee, and I'm not, were they answered? I know okay, Missy was nodding her head. Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have 453.4 Rule 1, Administering Medications Procedures. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Board President Johnson. So I move approval of the revisions of policy 453.1. I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry about that. 453.1, Rule 1.
1.4. You did the same thing I did.
The what?
You did the same thing I did.
453.4, Rule 1.
Okay. It's okay, I'm reading the, never mind. Anyway, just like the other ones, we spent a great deal of time last night in the rain, or listening to the rain, going through these policies with Mrs. Mobilis and Mrs. Beavers. Thank you guys for all your help. Everybody was involved in the conversation and questions and answers, and they did a great job. So it's ready to go.
Thank you. There's a motion by Brian Nichols to approve the revisions of policy 453.4 Rule 1. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Hankins. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have the consent agenda. Typically, there is no separate discussion of the items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item or items will be removed from the general order of business and considered in their normal sequence on the agenda. Would any board members like any items removed? Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. I definitely need item E removed, and then if I can ask a question, that'll let me know if I need anything else. If the consent agenda is approved as a group of items, does the recommended motion language stand as the board motion for approval?
Can you repeat your
Absolutely.
question?
So if the consent agenda is approved as a group, does the recommended motion language stand as the board motion for approval?
For each individual?
For each item that's listed? Okay, in that case, I need items C and D removed. And then does it, I guess this is a Ms. Shope question, if that's okay, Board President Johnson. Does it matter the order of motions? Like both, so I'm referring to the minutes, which is item F, and both motions are accurate, they just didn't happen in that order. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Does it matter?
So I try to have the minutes go in the order of how things happen. So if you point them out
Okay.
to me, I'll flip-flop them.
Then please remove item F. F is in Frank. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other, any of the two other items in one item? Okay, I guess we are going to remove C, D, E, and F.
Please.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the June 25 monthly financials?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Megan Miller, seconded by Amy Levy. Any discussion? Mrs. Levy?
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with C.
This is for the June 25 month. Was your hand still up?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
We got to vote.
Okay. Yep, so there's no discussion on the
No,
June
ma'am.
25th monthly financials. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have item C, contracted services purchase approval. Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. So my concern is the recommended action says move approval of the attached purchase for $61,250 for the 2025-26 school year to the full Board of Education. So what we would be approving is for this to come back to us, because the language wasn't changed when it came out of committee. So what I would propose, and I don't want to cut off discussion if anyone has anything else, but move approval to purchase access to the core communication platform Blackboard at an amount not to exceed, wait, am I on the right one? Yep, $40,891 for the 2025-2026 school year.
Pardon the interruption, but that didn't come out of committee.
Oh, it was pulled?
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not, I missed that part. So D was not moved forward by committee? That is correct. Okay, but C was? Okay. And Mrs. Levy, would you reread your motion?
Yes, let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. So this is the 61,000, okay. So currently the language is to move it back to the full board. So if we could move approval of the attached purchase at $61,250, so not to exceed that amount, and end it right there.
Thank you. Mrs. Schultz, do you have that motion?
I do, but I believe, didn't this item not come out of committee?
It's the C, contracted service / purchase approval?
Or am I confusing the two? Oh, this is the one that came out of TLE. It's the other one that didn't.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Yep. I'll fix the motion. Correct.
Okay, so we have a motion by Amy Levy. Is there a second?
That's the motion.
There's a second by Megan Miller. Mrs. Schultz, when you have a moment, would you please reread the motion for the board?
Yes. So I have move approval of the attached purchase not to exceed $61,250 for the 25-26 school year. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our next item is the approval of the meeting minutes for August 5th. Mrs. Levy?
Thank you. All right, so just two quick things. If we could remove the addresses and last names for participants, perfect, for public comment. And then if you look on page 3, item B, Levy stated that she would be supportive if the pay freeze release, if we could drop that D, was for all staff since OPEB funds were contributed for all employees. I initially thought it was by, and I was corrected in the meeting, which I so appreciate. So that should be for all employees. Thank you.
And there is a highlighted fragment there that just says Levy asked about the, if we could either remove that or finish the statement. Okay, thank you, already fixed, awesome. Any other discussion on the August 5th minutes? Is there?
I'll have to, I think, abstain.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Motion by Juan Romero, seconded by Brian Nichols. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Oh, Mr. Hankins?
Yeah, that meeting, I know I was on the phone for most of it.
If you need to abstain,
I think I need to abstain, right? I think I cut out at the end. That's my recollection.
Okay, I'm not going to force you to
No,
vote on
no,
it.
no. That's my recollection. though.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Me too.
Motion carries 4 in favor and 2 abstentions. The last item is approval of the special meeting minutes for August 11th. Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. And this one is just, it'll be brief. At the end of the minutes, the motion to postpone the 8/11 personnel recommendations came before the move to direct the executive director of HR, superintendent, and legal to create a salary matrix for the dean position. So if we could just flip those two. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion for the August 11th minutes? Here, may I get a motion?
I move approval of the August 11th special board meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
Motion by Amy Levy, seconded by Brian Nichols. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Our next item is policy human resources recommendations regarding Dean of Students compensation range. The purpose of this is to share with the Board of Education the proposal of the Dean of Students positions compensation to be based on the certified compensation matrix with a specified range from $50,000 per year to a maximum not to exceed $70,000 per year and ineligible to CPI increase in the 25-26 school year. Dr. Garrison and Mrs. Almendarez.
Yes, thank you. Per board's discussion, we did go back and have additional conversations as requested, and we looked at the compensation matrix once again for the Dean of Students position to be more specific and aligned to the $50,000 per year range with a maximum not to exceed $70,000 per year. And again, as mentioned in the purpose, and is ineligible for the CPI increase in the 25-26 school year. This information that you see before you will capture our Dean of Students opportunity in the school district, and that's where the administration and team is at right now.
Thank you, Dr. Garrison. Are there any questions or discussion? Mrs. Levy.
Thank you. So unfortunately, this is not something that I can support for several reasons. Mainly, I think this leaves the certified educator compensation matrix vulnerable. If the Board of Education can decide to pull off a position and change the pay range for that position, I just don't think there's any guarantee that staff can look to understand how they will be compensated. My other huge concern with this is I think this penalizes veteran teachers, especially those teachers who have advanced degrees. If they are looking to move into leadership and become a dean, they are, in some cases, could be asked to take a pay cut to do that. And I think it adds insult to injury to say you are also not eligible for a CPI increase after we have potentially taken money that you have earned through your years of experience and through your additional certifications and degrees. I'm very uncomfortable, one, with the board having the ability to manipulate the pay matrix to fit a certain range. And two, to potentially penalize veteran teachers, especially those with advanced degrees. I cannot support this.
Thank you, Ms. Levy. This is not a position that is getting pulled from the certified educators compensation plan. This is a position that is being created. To my knowledge, there has never been an elementary level dean position in the school district of Beloit. And per different policies, it is within our purview to approve salary ranges. Ms. Levy?
Oh, well, since you,
I'm sorry. I said Miss.
did you mean Miss Miller?
Yeah, I was looking at your picture, but I saw her green dot. So
Well, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege because you called my name. Just because something is legal does not mean it is the right thing to do. And
Well,
I'm going to climb down from my soapbox.
well, I agree with you on that, but this one, considering the purpose of why we changed AP positions to dean positions, it was purely for the financial situation we are in.
And
Ms. Miller? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to add that there are instances, quite a few that have occurred during my tenure here, where we have had, whether it be an instructional coach or a teacher, move into an AP position, and they too experience a pay cut when they switch to becoming an administrator. Just to clarify, this is not exclusive of the dean position.
Ms. Miller?
Thank you so much. So actually, Mrs. Levy took the words right out of my mouth. So point of personal privilege, I would agree with that statement. So while I do understand that this is a legal thing that we're able to do, and I'm absolutely, completely empathetic with my colleagues on the board who are concerned with, just like the financial impact to the district at this point, I feel like as a teacher and as somebody who works in public education, it does create a sense of instability at a time that we're trying to retain staff to make a late in the game change. I think this process has been destabilizing to the district in the sense that we now have buildings that don't even know who their administrators are at this point. And so I just want to echo the concerns I think that Mrs. Levy pretty much pointed out. I did have a clarifying question, and if you don't know, and I'm remiss because I should have emailed, and if you cannot answer, this is totally fine. As I'm listening to the conversation, I am curious what the opportunity cost would be for a teacher who has more than 5 years in the district if they move to a dean position from a classroom teacher position, just because I just want to get a sense of how much of a cost would this be to our experienced educators, with the caveat being, this is not to say that we couldn't have a first or second year teacher be an absolutely phenomenal dean. I think that is absolutely a thing that could happen. I just want to make sure that we are properly equipping our buildings with people who have great experience and who could do the job well, because that's the whole point. And I'm just kind of curious what they would be losing going to the position on the new proposed scale.
Thank you. Dr. Garrison or Mrs. Almendarez?
I'm looking up an example for you.
And again, I apologize for not emailing ahead. I thank you very much.
So the unnamed example with 6 years of teaching experience would come in the 60s, 61, 62,000 range as a dean, whereas as a teacher, they're coming in at 58,105. So I think it's when we're really getting into 10, 15 plus years that you start seeing this shrink a little.
I appreciate that, and I think it would be good. And it obviously, again, I'm putting you on the spot right now. This doesn't have to happen this evening, but however the board chooses to go forward, I do think it's important just to communicate that out to the staff as a whole. Just what's the threshold? At what point? You know what I mean? Because I just personally feel like that's something that I would want to know as an educator. So thank you.
Mr. Hankins?
Yes, just going back to when we discussed this last night, Dr. Garrison assured us that it was vetted, via legal And I understand that legal doesn't mean it's always the correct thing to do. And I disagree with Board President. This was a financial move. To me, it's the best of both worlds, and I understand why we did it. But to me, just me, this dean is going to really help support the building administrator. And it's well defined on what that building, what the dean is going to do to help the building administrator, i.e. the principal there. And I think it's a well-defined avenue for us to go down, and it kind of serves both purposes. Yes, we may have cut a little money, but it's a well-defined person in that building to help our building administrator and our students. So I'm totally in favor of this move, and I don't agree with it. It was just made because of its cost savings. I thought in the end, yes, but it should have been made way before. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins, and let me perhaps clarify and shed some light on this. The board moved to eliminate 3 of the AP positions at the elementary level, causing the remaining 3 positions to have to service 2 school buildings. And the response I received from staff and building level administrators was that they felt that that was unfair to the staff and unfair to the students that they have to service because they're not building strong relationships. And the suggestion I received from staff was come up with a better solution, and they suggested perhaps having 6 dean positions. Right now, this is not necessarily a permanent thing. We don't know what our financial future looks like. So perhaps let me rephrase my statement. This is not purely a financial move. We are trying to provide as much and consistent services to our elementary buildings to support our staff that they so desperately need without breaking the bank. We did agree as a board that this money this year would come out of the 300 up to $360,000 would come out of OPEB funds. And that's again, I apologized earlier for the messiness of the rollout of this situation and that it was late. We could just move to eliminate it. And quite truthfully, right now, with my frustration level, I might support that, because at this point, it seems like we are really just beating this up left and right, up and down, and everybody involved in it. And it's not a good look, it's not fair, and we can do better. So I think we need to decide, are we going to approve this? Let's move on and get it done with, or say, no, we're not going to have it, and we've had just APs in the elementary schools in the past, and that might just be the best solution. Put those dollars and resources back into the classroom, maybe give them classroom, those dollars for training for classroom management or something else. It doesn't have to be this, but what we have, especially cutting down to 3 APs, is not going to make improvements that we need to see in our district. Mr. Nichols?
Well, could I suggest, and I'll make it into a motion, but let me prerequisite that by, first of all, this should have come forward with the job description, the new job description, but it didn't. I would recommend that we move this to tomorrow evening for a short. I know that's a stretch. No?
We're under the 24-hour posting timeline.
Well, that's true. Okay. Forget I said anything. Thank you.
Ms. Levy has her hand up, then I'll come back to you, Mr. Hankins.
Thank you. I will be brief. To piggyback on Board Vice President Nichols' comment, I also was expecting to see a revised job description because the potential for pay has been reduced in some cases. Is there something that you can share about like how that job description has decreased to fit this pay range that is not necessarily aligned with the compensation model, again, for veteran teachers?
Sure. The job description was just provided last night at the Policy and HR Committee meeting. I don't know that we were in time to repost. That's a Michelle question. However, the job description is still consistent with what the goal was for a dean. They will not be conducting functions that require administrator licensing. For example, other than on a very limited basis, they will not be running the building. They will not be conducting the educator effectiveness, the evaluations for the classroom teachers. Their focus will remain primarily with the students themselves in addressing the behaviors, the attendance, assisting with the attendance, and other matters that, again, are directly associated with the student and not all of the other responsibilities that fall upon a licensed administrator.
So, and thank you for that clarification. So if I go back to last night's meeting and pull that document, it will be a clear distinction between the document from last night and what was previously provided for a dean position. Like, I'll be able to tell the difference in role, because it seems to me like some of the things you just listed, that was already understood for the original dean posting. Is there something that I'm not understanding?
Well, the scope of the position itself has not changed from one to another. Some of the only thing that changed from the original is the way that it was worded. There was a lot of overlap with other roles, and it was misleading as to, is that going to be a social worker lead or is that going to be a dean lead? So it was cleaned up to make sure that we keep individuals in the right lane. We did not necessarily take away the essential job functions to justify anything. The justification for the pay is based on essentially they're not certified as an administrator, and they're not doing evaluations, and they're not independently operating the building other than on a very temporary basis.
Okay, so the job description substantively has remained the same, but we could potentially make the decision to put a cap on the pay.
That is correct.
Thank you so much.
Any other, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hankinson.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, and I think I was misconstrued in my comment. I am totally in favor of this deanships, and now that it's been defined the way it's been defined, and the parameters set in place, and with assurances that I've gotten, I'm totally in favor of this. I think it's the best of both worlds of eliminating the APs and putting a deanship in there to help the AP. I don't want to be misconstrued. Yes, it was born out of a need to shave some money, but to me, it's a win-win-win. So I don't want to misconstrue. I'm all for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hankins. Any other board members? Is there a motion? Let's see. Is there a motion for this agenda item that a board member would like to make?
So moved.
Are you,
Wait a minute.
Mr. Hankins, are you approving the recommended action as listed on the agenda?
Could I ask for clarification, please, before I answer that question?
Sure. Clarification of the motion?
Or what I'm motioning for, I guess, is
Oh.
my... Going back, I thought the definition and the job description was involved in that, but I'm hearing that it wasn't updated. which I think is very important.
Yeah, Dr. Garrison?
I'll answer that. So the job description that was brought forward yesterday, substance like Mrs. Almendarez just mentioned, necessarily has not changed. It's not attached to this agenda item. We could bring back the job description for the Dean of Students that you all looked at yesterday with those changes that you mentioned in that space. I say you, the team, of course, the committee, of course. And that could be brought forth when, if this is approved, when we bring the Dean of Students name recommendations forward. And so naturally, we can look at the job description, well, before that, I'm sorry, and or after the fact. And so to me, the job description can be looked at prior to us bringing on anybody in a very quick board conversation, and or we would have to wait until the next board meeting to do so. Again, the substance of what we've been talking about for the past 2 months is still there. We have not deviated from what we have discussed over the past, 2 or 3 months now. And so that's where we are with the job description. And that's how we could actually rectify this situation. Right now, I think we need to either, of course, the motion, recommended action is to move approval of dean positions based off of what you see here. And then we, of course, can bring back the job description for later approval at the board's discretion.
Mr. Nichols?
Okay, I'll take a stab at the motion. I move approval of the Dean of Students position compensation to be based on the certified compensation matrix with a specified range from $50,000 per year to a maximum not to exceed $70,000 per year, period.
What about CPI? Are we including that or not?
That's why I said period. We're removing, I'm removing it in the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols, for that. The motion is to move approval of the dean position compensation to be based on the certified compensation matrix with a specified range from $50,000 per year to a maximum not to exceed $70,000 per year. Is there a second? Motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Juan Romero. Any discussion? Mrs. Levy.
Yes, I just want to request a roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Any other, Mr.
Board-
Hankins?
Yeah, Board President, will then the other end of this be, the JD and CPI, will that be acted on at a later date? No, he said period. Just period. I'm just saying okay.
So this motion means that
I understand that. I'm just asking.
the employees hired into
Yes,
dean
I get it.
positions will get
That's it.
the CPI raises this year.
Okay.
And the job descriptions will have to come to the board prior to giving positions to these employees so that they know exactly what their job
Okay, thank you.
expectations are. Ms. Miller?
Thanks. I just really want to quickly clarify, since this is different from what was proposed. Should a candidate land at 70 and they receive CPI, does that violate the motion? I just want to be conscious of the process, and I don't know if any administration wants to weigh in or if my colleagues have any thoughts on that.
The reason why we did put in the CPI language is if someone lands right at the cusp of the $70,000 and we go into the school year that they're hired as a dean for, they can very well potentially exceed that just within a few months, basically, of starting that role. And that's why it was proposed that they would not be included in CPI to maintain the integrity of what was proposed to the board.
Mr. Nichols, do you want to keep the motion as is, or Are you open to any recommended amendments?
I'm always open.
I will suggest then perhaps amending the motion to say not to exceed 70,000 per year with the exception of CPI increases in the 25-26 school year. So that way, if there is somebody that's hired at 69,000 and
Okay.
gets that little bit bump and is over the 70, that we're going to,
Gotcha.
give them what that raise.
I accept that.
Ms. Miller?
Thank you. Just to clarify with your proposed motion language, would we then have to take action annually to adjust per school year and what that cap would be? Because, for example, if we're passing that with the exception of CPI in this school year, like, would that have to come back year after year? Like, what is your thought for that?
This has to come back next year because we're using OPEB money, and who knows what this place is going to look like a year from now? Who knows who's going to be in this seat? But that's what the original motion for the dean positions was. I don't know if next year the board is going to want to continue using OPEB money, but it's pretty much set up that it will have to be revisited next time.
No, I thank you for clarifying. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Would you mind reading that back?
Mrs. Schopp?
Do you have? Okay.
So I have moved to amend the motion to read not to exceed 70,000 except in the case of a CPI increase in the 25-26 school year.
Okay, so we are voting on the amendment. Was that seconded? Oh, thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Hankins.
The tail end, and ineligible to CPI increase, we're making an exception if they're close to 70, so why don't we get rid of the whole tail end of that after the comma? They should all be eligible then, just
Well,
not a person at 68.
Well, that's what the amendment is.
Well,
so
why
that
don't
they
we just
would be
get rid of it?
eligible.
No, as I read it, it said unless they go over 70,000. So, just get rid of it. Then every dean should be eligible for a CPI.
Okay.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's just
Okay.
get rid of it.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll stick with the original motion that's on the table of move approval of the Dean of Students position to be based on the certified matrix with the range of 50 to 70, not to exceed. Oh, that's why we added it, because it says not to exceed 70. So that bounds us.
Well, it says they're ineligible to CPI.
May I offer clarification, Board President Johnson? If you make the exception for someone who is at the top of the scale, then that automatically includes everyone else, because even with their CPI increase, they would be within the range.
I get that.
Can you turn your microphone on, Mr. Hankins?
But it's saying that you are ineligible, and it shouldn't, because they are eligible. Just if I'm really ignorant on that, just let me know. But they're eligible. All the deans are eligible.
Yeah. Mr. Nichols?
I have a question for Dr. Garrison or Mrs. Almendarez. New employees aren't eligible for a CPI increase the first year, correct? Okay, thanks.
New employees.
Right.
So So if we're hiring from within, they will be eligible for the CPI index.
That is correct, and it's also dependent on the verbiage that the board utilizes when they approve the CPI increase. For example, the board this last time made provisions that anyone that had been employed during the 23-24 school year would be eligible during the 24-25 school year for X amount. So there is a certain amount of leverage that the board has on how the CPI is administered, if it's new employees or only those that are returning.
Thank you. Mrs. Shope, would you please read back the amendment?
Yes. Move to amend the motion to read not to exceed 70,000 except in the case of a CPI increase in the 25-26 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second to that amendment? Hearing none, the amendment fails. The original motion by Brian Nichols and seconded by Mr. Romero. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
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 Motion fails. Next, we have addendum matrix for the 2025-2026 school year. The purpose of this is to ask the Board of Education for an approval of the addendum matrix for the 25-26 school year. Mrs. Almendarez and Dr. Garrison.
And Mr. Gratz
And
as well.
Mr. Gratz.
So thank you. So the board did ask us to kind of go back and have additional conversations as it pertains to our addendum matrix conversation. We have here a different proposal than what we had at the last conversation. And so I'll turn it over to my team to kind of walk us through what the proposal is, or what we have, what specific changes we have made in this addendum matrix. The attachment is attached. It does have some strike-throughs to better, show the board kind of what we are using and what we aren't using. And so I just want to make sure that the board had a better or more clear picture of our addendum matrix for the upcoming school year.
Excuse me, point of order. I'm sorry, before we continue with this, President Johnson, we kind of left this last agenda item in limbo. Where is it at going? Because we voted down the amendment.
Yep.
Where do we go from here with that? Is it just stay in limbo, or what happens to it?
The amendment was not seconded, so there was no motion on the amendment. The original motion by Mr. Nichols was tied, so it fails. So at this point, Dr. Garrison and his team will decide next steps, and we will. It may come back, it may not. We'll see from here. So on to the addendum matrix. Mr. Gratz? Excuse me. Oh, we need to extend the
Need
meeting.
to extend the meeting, yes.
Is that a motion?
I move that we extend the meeting by 30 minutes.
I'll second.
Motion to extend by Brian Nichols, seconded by Megan Miller. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Actually, if you don't mind me starting off. Okay.
Anybody, take it away.
Okay, so one of the things that we wanted to share with the board with this proposed addendum matrix are some of the things that had already been eliminated in an effort to streamline some of the expenses. The things that, for the most part, if you look under activities, those were in conjunction with building administration based on the participation and the readiness of teachers to lead those activities. Same thing with department chairs. So this has been an ongoing process for all of us to try to identify where we can cut expenses. So in general, the only addition in the athletics section is the winter wrestling varsity head coach for girls. That is an all-new athletic proposition for the board. And the other change that was made to the matrix was for dance and for cheer, we are eliminating or proposing to eliminate the spring session.
Thank you. Mr. Gratz or Dr. Garrison, did you want to add any comments or any other information?
I don't have any comments at this time, but Mr. Grass is here, our athletic director, if he wants to share anything from the athletic space.
Yeah, so the girls wrestling first year for the WA being recognized, so we wanted to make sure that we are able to add that and have our female athletes participate in a WA recognized sport. And the proposed reduction of the spring dance head coach just is in an effort to align with our conference, the SLC, as well as the state, as we were researching all of our addendums to kind of see where we stand in terms of how much we're paying, when we're offering different things. That was one of the things that stood out most. So again, in an effort to align better, that's where that proposal is coming from.
Do any board members have questions? Ms. Miller?
Thank you. No, I really appreciate the work that went in. I know it's not easy to make any cuts. I used to be the Leo's Club advisor at the high school. I was, sad to see a line through that. And there's some other absolutely phenomenal opportunities that, like Board President Johnson was saying, it's like, we can do what we can do. I do want to speak to the point about the season for the dance and cheer and et cetera. I think that I think like the process that you went through makes a lot of sense. We should definitely be looking what other districts are doing, line up as best we can. Also, one thing that makes Beloit special and unique is that we do have unique opportunities for students. So, for that reason, I would encourage us to reconsider eliminating that spring piece. And I say that with full respect. All of the other activities that are being cut are incredibly valuable. I just think that this one, being an athletic piece, kind of meets a different threshold. But of course, cuts are never easy, and I'm totally appreciate all the work that went into this. Thank you.
Mr. Nichols?
Question. This goes to the back of the. Where'd I go? I lost it. Hang on a second. The next to last page. The social-emotional behavioral coaches. Why? I guess my question is why can we get rid of one at the high school, but not one everywhere else? I just don't understand that. So can somebody help me out there?
There, excuse me, there is no reason why we couldn't, other than if at the middle school they felt that there's still work being done that warrants them, then it was not one of the ones that they felt that they could relinquish at the time.
No, those are all eliminated. I pointed that out.
Yeah, but they're using them. Mm-hmm. So we can revisit the building level and see how they're utilizing that addendum, and if it could be eliminated altogether.
Again, just an observation. It didn't make sense to me, but logic sometimes doesn't always work. So
Absolutely. And one of the disadvantages for me is, I am not in the buildings, and so I rely on the information that is provided to me by the AD, by the principals, because the original options already existed. So anything that we've removed has been in collaboration with them. So if there's something that they're not using, we don't issue an addendum for it. So if the board decides that, if it's not being used, we can cross it out, then we certainly can do that if the board wants to approve with that change.
Anything else, Mr. Nichols? Mrs. Levy?
Thank you. 2 questions. I want to be sensitive to the comment that we heard, and if I understood it correctly, at the elementary school level, I get why we need to have reductions because of funding, but is the district deciding which clubs are where, or is it you can have this number of clubs and you decide how that's allocated?
Actually, what we did is that we shared the addendum sheet originally with the principals this past year. That's what these reductions are that you're seeing. And they let us know what clubs and activities either did not have enough student participation or they didn't have the staff interest to lead. But we didn't make the decision for them. They came back to us with their recommendations.
Perfect. Okay, so that is taken care of. And then, Board President Johnson, if it's okay with you, I would like a better understanding of what eliminating the spring season of dance, what impact that would have on students. And since we have the coach in the room, is it okay to direct that question to her? And the specific reason I ask is that I know the Nightingales and the fellas put on the Rhythm of the Night, and that's a huge fundraiser for other things with educational purposes. So I just want to understand what eliminating the spring dance season would mean.
Thank you. I will allow Dr. Garrison to respond to that.
So eliminating the spring season will also align up with the rest of the sporting opportunities that we have here in the school district. One of the things that we see is that the spring season can be used differently. It does not mean that the cheer and dance teams couldn't volunteer and do some things, but in this space, the spring opportunity it will be eliminated, but the fall and the winter will stay, based off of what we are sharing right here today. I would ask Mr. Gratz or Mrs. Almendarez to share any additional information with that.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, in the spring, where dance has a huge fundraiser that supports educational opportunities, we would ask for them to volunteer all of that time, or if they choose not to, that fundraising that supports educational programming could be lost. That has been taken into consideration.
If the spring opportunity is there and they do not want to do it, that doesn't have to happen. And so as it stands, we want to move forward with the fall and the winter, both dance and cheer, and spring season be taken off the table.
Thank you. Mr. Gratz, did you want to add anything to that?
It absolutely was taken into consideration when looking at the last calendar year of events. I can only speak for the last year. Obviously, I've only been here 1 year, but that was a piece absolutely that we considered as we were making that decision.
And Board President Johnson, may I just ask one clarification, Mr. Gratz?
Is it about the spring season?
Well, it's just wondering, are the coaches on board with that?
Mr. Hankins had a question too, so I'd like for him to have an opportunity.
Absolutely, but if we could just come back to if the coaches are on board with that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
I'm sorry, mine was more a comment. It was, I'm really pleased that the female sports are, and especially wrestling. And then another comment, I see that flag football is getting big in the D3, D2, D1 colleges, and maybe that'd be a sport we could look at in the future. I don't think it'd be that costly, but thank you for the hard work you do.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Gratz?
To answer your question, Ms. Levy, doubtful. Our coaches are going to advocate to have as many opportunities to be with their athletes as possible. That, again, was taken into consideration, and we've spoken at length about this and how to best serve our students first, and then second, how to continue to assist the district with this process. Obviously, I'm of the belief that the more opportunities we can offer our student athletes, our students through activities, our students through clubs, the better. But we were given a directive, and so this is one of the pieces that has come from that.
Thank you so much.
Any other board questions or comments on the addendum matrix? I would also like to echo the concern about the art club, especially if there are 95 students from first grade through fifth grade, that is being removed when it seems like there may be some that are vacant. Obviously, the only real financial impacts are going to be the positions that are filled. I'm a little fuzzy what happens to the funds that are allocated for positions but then aren't filled. And I'm sure that Mrs. Elwood will explain that to me later at another date and time. But until then, I am open to any motions for the addendum matrix.
I move that we accept the matrix as presented.
Motion by Tom Hankins to accept it as presented. Is there a second? No second. Ms. Miller, your hand is up.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to move approval of the proposed 25-26 addendum matrix for athletics activities and clubs, including the spring season for, I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, for spring dance, for the spring dance varsity head coach.
Second.
There is a motion by Megan Miller and a second by Amy Levy to approve the 25-26 addendum matrix for athletes and activities and clubs with the addition of the spring, was it head coach for dance? Ms. Schulb, can we get a roll call?
Absolutely. Amy Levy?
Aye.
Tom Hankins?
Nay.
Brian Nichols?
Nay.
Megan Miller?
Aye.
Juan Romero?
Nay.
And Tia Johnson?
Nay.
Motion failed 2-4.
Thank you. Are there any other proposed motions for the addendum matrix? Oh, there was no second. There was no second on that. Okay. Our next agenda up is the HR Committee Employment Recommendations Exhibit A. Are there any open session questions on Exhibit A? Are there any closed session questions on Exhibit A? I will entertain a motion for Exhibit A.
I move approval of the 8/19/2025 employment recommendations, Exhibit A.
Second.
Motion for approval by Brian Nichols, seconded by Juan Romero. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our next item is a closed session item. Specific employees matters, section conferring with legal team regarding specific employees matters. A motion may be made and a vote taken to convene the Board of Education into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C of the Wisconsin State Statutes relative to considering specific personnel and compensation recommendations, and Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent G, conferring with legal counsel who is rendering oral or written advice. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Brian Nichols, seconded by Amy Levy. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Schopp, may we get a roll call?
Yes. Megan Miller,
Aye.
Brian Nichols,
Aye.
Tom Hankins,
Aye.
Amy Levy,
Aye.
Juan Romero,
Aye.
Tia Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. The Board of Education may reconvene to public session in order to take any action, if necessary, on items discussed in closed session. Thank you.